inside. But then starting from the second period, and it is the beginning of the Tang Dynasty, they came up with a very interesting element in architecture. They started carving a little window above the doorway, which would bring the lights, and that's how the people, the artists who originally painted those walls would work during daytime. And the same thing, the light was coming through when Zhang Datian and Xie Zhiliu were working inside the caves, and they also used candlelight as well. So here we have another reproduction of a photograph of the original fresco from Dunhuang. And if you look close enough, you hardly can see the face of the figure. You hardly can understand the position of the hands. But if you look at the tracing copy over here, it gives you a very clear idea of the development of the lines, the clothes, how it folds and bends, her legs, her whole position. And that's when these tracing copies acquire new historical value for the researchers. So it's very dubious. You can criticize them for doing this, but you also can praise them for doing something that no one did. They actually preserved the original images of those frescoes. Well, here we have a very good example, which will explain the technique that they use for making the tracing copies. This is a glassine paper, very thin, that they would apply on the wall directly, but they didn't use pencils or pens. They've been using brushes and Chinese ink. So if you're really interested, you can go back to the photograph a little bit later and you'll see that Zhang Datian, he holds his brush in a traditional way, like the way he would write a calligraphy or paint, and he's making the tracing copy using the brush and ink. This is the representation of a very special being in the Buddhist tradition. It's the representation of Apsara. They originated in Hinduism, and they are special beings that inhabit the heaven of the god Indra. There are actually two major types, the one who sing and dance, and they're called Apsaras, and the second type, they play musical instruments, and they're called Gandhakwara. Well, when they made their way to the Chinese Buddhist tradition, they were called Fei Tian, which means flying beings or flying in the sky. And this is one of the most favorite elements for decoration of the Buddhist caves. Let's go over there and have a look at her sister, another Apsara.